of moments, you've been, as you mentioned, your career with the Fever. First six, though, were tough, obviously. They weren't as easy. You guys have made the playoffs the last two. What's been the big turnaround? How have you viewed the way the team has grown organically?
The WNBA world is buzzing after Kelsey Mitchell of the Indiana Fever finally broke her silence and gave fans the raw truth they have been waiting for. Known as the steady veteran who carried the Fever through some of the darkest years in franchise history, Mitchell shocked the league by rejecting all the negativity and politics surrounding Caitlin Clark. Instead of resentment or bitterness, Mitchell offered pure respect, admiration, and alliance, leaving critics speechless and the league scrambling to interpret her words. For years, Mitchell had been the lone star in Indiana, shouldering 5-win seasons, endless coaching changes, and nights where opponents treated the Fever as an easy stat-padding opportunity.
And then you bring in Caitlin, who changed the world, changed the dynamic of basketball. And as a friend and as a player, you grow to appreciate her because, certain doors have opened because she's come to the Fever, and you have to respect that. And I love the teammate and person in her because she's accepted it with so much grace and even welcomed us with open arms to, make this thing happen. So I think it just took a lot of big pieces to make, what it.
Through it all, she stayed loyal, never demanding a trade, never complaining, always carrying the weight of a struggling franchise. Now with the Fever back in the playoffs, Mitchell has every right to remind people of her role in keeping Indiana alive, but her focus instead turned to Clark, the rookie sensation who has completely transformed women's basketball. Her statement was simple yet seismic: Caitlin Clark has changed the world, changed the dynamic of basketball itself. Coming from Mitchell, a player who endured every low point, those words are not empty. They are validation. She could have chosen jealousy or downplaying Clark's impact, but instead she embraced it fully, calling Clark a friend, a teammate, and someone who has lifted the entire franchise.
You've changed the world in so many ways. You've done it with so much grace, and I'm so happy to take the floor with you, to be a part of this experience. I want to tell you to give yourself some grace, kid. You've done a lot of things that not a lot of people can do, and from me to you, I'm always going to be a fan. I'm always going to be in your corner. I'm always going to be in your backcourt.
That is not just commentary, it is a message that the WNBA must accept reality. Clark is the needle moving the sport forward. What makes Mitchell's comments even more powerful is that she delivered them without losing sight of her own value. She reminded fans that she was the foundation, the one who kept the franchise relevant long enough for Clark to arrive and build upon it. Rather than framing Clark as competition, she positioned herself as an ally, declaring she will always be in her corner and even hinting that she would sacrifice personally to keep this Fever core intact. That's leadership, and it sets Mitchell apart from others in the league who have tried to stir resentment or dismiss Clark's impact.
But you've been with Indiana through the thick and thin. You've been with them since, like we was talking, like we about to go get our rhythm on Indiana. You've been there, you stuck through until now being in the semifinals. What does that feel like? And for people watching, like girls, boys, if they athletes, not athletes, what does it feel like to stick through something and now see it come into full fold?
Inside the locker room, her words carried even greater weight. She spoke about Clark's humor, grace, and ability to bring people together, rejecting outside narratives that paint her as arrogant or divisive. For Mitchell, Clark isn't just a superstar, she is the sun around which the Fever orbit, and her light allows everyone's game to shine brighter. Together with Aaliyah Boston and Lexi Hull, the Fever now have a foundation that looks less like a playoff team and more like the early stages of a dynasty. And Mitchell, once the lone survivor of Indiana's darkest days, is now the heartbeat of a revolution she fully supports.